Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to try and do something pretty difficult. We're going to step into a reality that is profoundly different from the one most of us just take for granted. We're going to try and understand what the world actually feels like for someone with schizophrenia. So just imagine this for a second. You're sitting on the bus, or you're at your desk at work, and the people a few feet away are whispering about you. You can't make out all the words, but you can feel it in your gut. They're judging you, maybe even plotting against you. And then, what if it got even stranger? You go home, you turn on the TV, but the news anchor isn't talking to the world. He's talking directly to you. The commercials, the characters in your favorite show, they're all embedding secret messages, instructions that are meant only for you to understand. Now, for most of us, this is just a creepy thought exercise, right? It's the plot of a movie. But for about 1 in every 100 people, this isn't a what if. It's their daily, unshakable reality. For someone with schizophrenia, these experiences aren't imaginary. They are as real and solid as the ground beneath your feet. So that brings up a really interesting question. How can a personal reality feel so alien and different, and yet be a condition that's actually pretty common? It's a paradox, and it shows us that this condition is found in every culture all over the world. So yeah, while the numbers kind of shift depending on the study, schizophrenia affects somewhere between 0.3% and 1% of everyone on the planet. That means you've almost certainly been in a class or worked with or stood in line at the grocery store next to someone who is quietly navigating this illness. It's not some rare or distant thing. It's right here in our communities. And if you want to understand just how severe this can be, just look at this number. In Japan, the average hospital stay for a person with schizophrenia is over 569 days. Now think about that. For most other illnesses, you're talking about maybe 100 days tops. This just shows you the enormous challenge of treating this condition. Okay, so what is actually happening inside the mind? The symptoms can seem really chaotic and confusing from the outside, but doctors have a useful way of breaking them down into 2 very different categories, and this really helps make sense of it all. So, neurologists talk about positive and negative symptoms. Now, positive doesn't mean good, not at all. It means experiences that are added to reality, things like hallucinations and delusions. On the flip side, negative symptoms are about what's lost or taken away, things like the ability to feel emotion, a complete loss of motivation, or pulling away from the world entirely. Let's dig into delusions for a second. There are secondary delusions, fears that, while not true, you can kind of see the twisted logic. But primary delusions, these are a real hallmark of schizophrenia. This is when there's a total break from reality. A belief that a random black cat crossing the street is undeniable proof that the FBI has you under surveillance. It's a waking nightmare. And on top of all that, the illness often starts to chip away at a person's basic ability to think. Everyday tasks that require memory or concentration or just simple problem solving, they become these massive hurdles. It's like the very tools you use to organize your world are starting to break down. So we've talked about what it feels like, but the big question, the one we all want to know, is why? What's going on inside the brain to create this alternate reality? Well, the first big clues come from our genes. For any given person, chosen at random from the population, the lifetime risk of developing schizophrenia is about 1%. Okay, that's our baseline. But if your parent or your sibling has it, your risk suddenly jumps to 10%. That is a massive, tenfold increase. It's a huge red flag that our DNA is involved here. And this is where it gets really stark. If your identical twin, someone who has the exact same DNA as you, has schizophrenia, your risk skyrockets to an incredible 50%. Now, it's not 100%, right? So we know the environment matters too. But that genetic link is just impossible to ignore. So what are these genes actually doing? Well, science has a few leading ideas. The most famous one is the dopamine hypothesis, which suggests there's just too much of that chemical messenger in parts of the brain. Another is the GABA hypothesis, that the brain's braking system is broken. And another points to actual physical damage to brain cells from stress. The thing is, these probably aren't competing ideas. They're much more likely interconnected pieces of a much bigger puzzle. All these theories really point to the same basic problem. Something's going wrong with how the brain is physically built. And to get that, we have to zoom way in, down to the microscopic level of the brain's wiring. And this is where things get really, really fascinating. First, we need to know one word: synapse. The easiest way to think about a synapse is like a handshake between two brain cells. They don't quite touch. There's this tiny gap where they pass chemical signals back and forth. It's how they talk to each other and form all the networks that make you, you. So check this out. When we're babies, our brains are this huge, tangled mass of connections. Just way too many. Then, when we hit our teenage years, this really important process called synaptic pruning kicks in. The brain starts to clean house, trimming away all the connections it doesn't need to make the whole system faster and more efficient. It's like tidying up a messy garage so you can find things. And here it is. This is the key. The evidence now suggests that in people with schizophrenia, that pruning process goes haywire. It goes into overdrive. It doesn't just trim away the junk connections, it starts cutting away essential ones too. And you're left with this sparse, patchy network that has a really hard time making sense of the world, which can lead directly to things like hallucinations and delusion. The source material had this fantastic analogy for it. It's not that the brain is missing parts. The number of brain cells is totally normal. The connections are the problem. It's like having an electronic circuit with all the right components, but the soldering is bad. The signals just can't flow properly, and the whole system starts to glitch out. So this idea of faulty wiring, it helps us zoom back out and see schizophrenia not as this totally unique, isolated thing, but maybe as one outcome on a whole spectrum of conditions related to how our brains get built. And what's really wild is that a lot of the same genes that put you at risk for schizophrenia, well, they're also linked to bipolar disorder, to depression, to autism, and even ADHD. It suggests that all these conditions we used to think of as totally separate might actually share some of the same deep roots in the way the brain wires itself up. And there is a real message of hope in that. A cure might be a long way off, sure, but our understanding is getting better every single day. We're starting to realize that those firm lines we used to draw between these conditions, they're a lot blurrier than we ever thought. So we'll leave you with this final thought. Everything we perceive, everything we believe to be real, it's all just a product of the wiring inside our own heads. So if that's true, what does that teach us about empathy for people whose wiring just happens to be a little bit different? Thanks for watching.